Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack the completely fascinating multi-layered history of an ancient powerhouse. We're heading to the southern coast of modern-day Turkey, right down to the Kumluca district of Antalya, to explore the ancient city of Olympos. Picture this. It's sitting beautifully right on the Mediterranean shores, nestled at the foot of Mount Tatali, which, by the way, was actually known in ancient times as Mount Olympos itself. It was a seriously important East Lycian port city. And as we go through this, we're going to peel back the centuries, literally layer by layer, to see how geography, trade, and some pretty intense conquests shaped a spectacular urban landscape that archaeologists are still uncovering today. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to think about the question here. What could possibly connect elite Lycian lords, ruthless Cilician pirates, and strategic Venetian sailors? Well, the answer is the very ground of Olympos itself. You see, this wasn't just some quiet, sleepy coastal town. No way. It was a high-stakes, fiercely contested geographical prize. For centuries, if you controlled this natural harbor, you basically controlled vital Mediterranean trade routes. It's a place that hosted wildly different civilizations, and every single one of them left their own distinct fingerprint on the city's architecture, its culture, and its daily life. So here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at Olympos on the historical stage. Second, we'll explore the two-sided ancient city. Third, we'll dig into the riches beneath the soil. And finally, we'll wrap up with the adventure of excavations happening right now. Section 1. Olympos on the historical stage. Power shifts in antiquity. To really grasp the significance of the archaeological ruins we see today, we first have to understand the dramatic power shifts that defined the city's timeline. You know the saying, geography is destiny? Well, for Olympos, its perfect natural harbor made it a massive target for anyone trying to dominate the Eastern Mediterranean. Now, the number 6 might seem pretty small to us, but back in the context of ancient regional politics, it represented absolute prestige and power. During the Hellenistic period, specifically the 2nd century BC, Olympos wasn't just a casual member of the Lycian League. It was an elite heavyweight, holding 6 voting rights. And that was literally the absolute maximum number of votes any single city could possess. Coins minted during this era totally backed this up, showing us that Olympos was an economic and political titan, basically steering the direction of the entire East Lycian coast. And this timeline brilliantly illustrates the absolute roller coaster of Olympus's history. Because, as it turns out, having elite status in the 2nd century BC didn't guarantee peace. By the 1st century BC, the city's strategic harbor had actually fallen into the hands of Cilician pirates, becoming a massive stronghold for the notorious pirate chief Xenocades. But, the Romans definitely couldn't let that stand. So, in 78 BC, the Roman consuls Servilius Vadia Isuricus decisively defeated the Pirates, bringing Olympus right under Roman rule. And if we fast forward through the centuries, it evolved into this really important bishopric center in the early Christian and Byzantine eras, later transformed into a naval base for Venetians and Genoese, until the whole shebang was finally abandoned in the 15th century. Section 2. The two-sided ancient city, a topographical masterpiece. So, with such a turbulent history of shifting rulers, how did all these diverse empires physically shape the layout of the city? Well, the answer lies in how they engineered and adapted to the dramatic natural topography. If you want to mentally map Olympos, you absolutely have to start with the water. The Göksu River, also known as the Olympos River, flows right through the heart of the settlement. It literally splits the city into 2 halves. But the ancient residents didn't just build around the river, they harnessed it. During the Roman era, they actually lined the riverbanks with these massive cut stones, transforming the river itself into a channeled port. At the mouth of the river, they created this protected natural harbor pond for ships to shelter in, and binding this whole two-sided city together was a beautiful, single-arched Roman bridge. Amazingly, you can still see the remnants of it today. This river division is beautifully visible when we look at the city's burial grounds, too. On the northern bank, the North Necropolis is incredibly dense. We're talking hundreds of different sarcophagi, chamber tombs, and niche graves packed in there. But cross the river to the South Necropolis, and the whole vibe changes. Over here, you find these grand temple-type tombs and massive aristocratic family sarcophagia. And tucked away in the southern half is also the city's Hellenistic theater. Now, it's pretty heavily covered by vegetation today, but you can still clearly identify the cavea, which is the seating area, and the skene, or the stage building. The crucial point here is that Olympos was an absolute architectural marvel, and that spans across multiple eras. For instance, you have this highly sophisticated Roman bath, featuring a hypocaust underfloor heating system. It was cleverly divided into cold, warm, and hot rooms, the frigidarium, tepidarium, and caldarium. Then there's the massive Ionic marble gate dating all the way back to the 2nd century AD. This belonged to a temple dedicated to Hephaestus, the god of blacksmiths and the protector of the city. As we move into later eras, we get the sprawling bishopric palace, complete with its own baptistry, and of course those incredibly imposing Venetian and Genoese defensive walls guarding the coast. They even built complex vaulted cisterns and aqueduct networks to manage their entire water supply. It's just wild engineering. Section 3. Riches beneath the soil. Daily life and relics. Okay, so we've seen the massive infrastructure, but it's really the personal artifacts and intricate details pulled from the earth that humanize these ancient residents and showcase the vibrant daily life of the city. Let me draw your attention to one of the most remarkable discoveries in the North Necropolis, the sarcophagus of Captain Eudemos. This isn't just a grave, you guys. It is essentially the maritime soul of Olympos, etched right into stone. The sarcophagus features an incredibly detailed relief of a ship, right alongside a poetic inscription. It's a completely unique historical record that tells us about the immense pride, the seafaring culture, and the deeply personal stories of the actual individuals who navigated those ancient Mediterranean trade routes. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer variety of unearthed artifacts. Just look at the range here. You have Latian silver coins and actual coins minted by the pirates and Acades sitting alongside Roman gold. You have these stunning early Christian floor mosaics featuring geometric and plant motifs that were found in the basilicas. And to piece together their trade network, archaeologists found countless Mediterranean amphoras and this really fine terra sigillata pottery. They've even unearthed Byzantine surgical tools, delicate glass lamps, and weaving instruments. It really shows a city that wasn't just surviving, but absolutely thriving in art, medicine, and international commerce. Section 4. The Adventure of Excavations, Uncovering History Today. It is so vital to remember that Olympos isn't just a static museum. It's a very active, ongoing scientific journey. The deep history we've been discussing is literally still being pulled from the earth today. The planned systematic excavations were actually initiated back in 2006 under the leadership of Professor Dr. Yelda Okay Uchkan from Anadolu University. And over the years, her team successfully peeled back those incredibly complex Hellenistic, Roman, and Byzantine layers. Today, this crucial work is being carried forward by dedicated expert archaeologists and art historians from Pamukkale University and Eskişehir Technical University. Their meticulous work is exactly what ensures that the legacy of this multi-layered city is preserved for future generations. Which leaves us with this final thought. When you consider the pirates, the Roman engineering, the Byzantine bishops, and the bustling international trade networks, what other secrets might still lie buried beneath the lush vegetation and the ancient riverbanks of Olympos? Every single season of excavation has the potential to completely rewrite history. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope it sparked your curiosity to learn even more about the incredible ancient world right beneath our feet.